Hello YouTubers and fellow hams, and RVers perhaps. Well, this is another promised video, an overview and a good look at the desk. It's about 90% functional now. I've just got a few little things to do with the inverter, and clean up some more. I've got more stuff to put away that's just sort of piled up here on top. Hopefully I'm in frame. I have the GoPro and I'm doing it on wide field to try to get everything in because, you know, it's kind of small inside an RV. But this is pretty much the travel configuration of the desk. We'll take a closer look here in a moment. Everything's buttoned up. I've got these flexible cargo nets, and these are motorcycle cargo nets that are designed to hold the helmet on the back seat of a motorcycle. And they're bungee and they're stretchy, so I put hooks at the corners of each of the cubbies, and they keep things from flying out of the cubbies while I'm traveling. There's also barriers here that I put in that are about 1/2 inch tall to keep things from sliding out. So, as I said, this is the travel configuration. Everything's closed up and the chair's bungeed in here, so it's not going to come out. This ledge on top is about 3/4 of an inch. I haven't had anything slide off the top as yet, and believe me, I've gone over some bumps where the RV was waggling back and forth, and I thought, well, there's a good test, but nope, nothing flew off. So anyway, I'm going to reposition the camera and try to give you a little bit better look at some of the bits and pieces here. So starting up here, this is the power control center, and we'll take a closer look at that in a moment. And then I got a storage cubby here, the cargo net's over it, and more storage down there. A lot of storage down there, it's not used yet. And then way over there, up here, 1, 2 big cubbies that are full of stuff, and down there 1, 2 more storage areas, so plenty of storage. Now when I get parked and I want to get things going, I just undo the bungee here, take my trash can out, slide the chair back, and these 2 hinges flip out. That's the support for the top of the desk. And then we just open her up, and there's my workbench. And as you can see on the inside, we've got the radios in here. There's my Arduino Vox, the Yaesu FT817, the ICOM 7300. Workspace up here where I just store things or put things temporarily as I'm working. A small inverter over here that I can use to fast charge the Chromebook or the laptop if we want to fast charge it. Over here is my antenna control stuff. I've got the LDG tuner and my SWR meter, and they are in line between these 2 switches. This switch over here switches between these 2 coaxes that go to the radios, and an open jumper up top so I can patch something in if I want to work on something. Make sure this is in frame. Yeah, okay. And this switch over here switches between the 2 coax feeds to the outside. I've got a weatherproof box outside with a 9-to-1 in it for hooking up a random wire, end-fed wire, and an SO239 connector on the bottom that I can switch between. And right now I've got an off-center fed dipole hooked up on the lower connector that I was using this morning that's working really well. Threw up into a couple of trees. And then of course I've got a third open connector here so I can hook up other internal antenna experiments or a dummy load if I need to. All of the test gear sits in here. I've got the oscilloscope, bench power supply, soldering station, multimeter, frequency counter, mini VNA. It's all accessible, and I can slide them out and put them up here if I wanted to configure the bench for working on something real quick and easy just to bring things out. And then I could either run them off the inverter if I'm in the field, or if I'm plugged into shore power, I've got an outlet strip up here for shore power. So it's pretty flexible. Up here on top, there is an audio amplifier that drives a couple of speakers I use for entertainment. I can hook up my cell phone if I've got cell service and listen to music. I've got a little cord here that I can patch into the laptop if I'm watching a video or something. Tucked behind that is a Linksys WRT54 Wi-Fi access point and router. and that connects to my server, the Raspberry Pi, and creates an internal wireless network so that I can use the Chromebook to control the Raspberry Pi, or I can transfer stuff to the server for backing it up or pull things off if I want to turn the server on. So overall, it's pretty flexible. This mount, I don't know if you can see that, it's at the top of the frame, is a flexible mount that I can put the GoPro on for shooting down on the bench when I work on a project. We've yet to use that, but I'm sure we'll get a chance to use it here sometime. Let's take a closer look at the power control center. Okay, everything from the batteries and the solar is controlled here. And we have a cooling fan. If it's warm, I can turn that on and pull air through there. Air comes in around this gap here and past the power supply if I'm hooked up to shore power and using it to offset the batteries around the radios. And then circulates through and comes back out the top. Main battery cutoff switch is right here. There's a voltmeter. Right now I'm at 13 volts and it's climbing. The sun's just come up. It's early morning here and I'm in the DeSoto National Forest, completely off grid. And I'm so remote I don't have cell signal, so people are probably wondering what's going on the channel because I've been silent for a day. And I'm going to be out here for another 3 or 4 days, so I'm going to be out here for 5 days, really giving a good test of running things out in the field. I can cut the solar on and off here. I've discovered that the charge controller creates some birdies across 40 meters. And I could cut it off if I needed to, but the notch filter on the 7300 is so good that I just notch it out. This is house cutover. This bridges the solar battery bank to the house battery that was built into the RV. They're all big sealed maintenance-free batteries with plenty of capacity. But this gives me some flexibility. I can isolate. By flipping that down, I've isolated the house battery from the solar bank. So if I wanted to play radio and really push these batteries down, I don't have to deplete the house battery, which runs the furnace, the refrigerator controls, the lights, and more importantly is used to start the generator. So if I'm going to be really hitting the solar batteries hard and I don't want to deplete the house battery so I can start the generator if I need to, I can switch that off and isolate them. I switch that on and that bridges them, and it'll exchange at about 2 amps at max. So the solar can replenish the house battery and it works great. This is a 19-volt supply that I use for charging and running my laptop, and it is working fine. It generates a little digital noise on the audio out of the laptop, but I'm going to fix that with some isolation transformers. And I have a short cord here and a little inline 1/8-inch jack so I can create other cords. I'm going to create another one for my Chromebook so I can charge it off of here as well. But that takes the 12 volts right to 19 volts. It's 42% more efficient than running the inverter and using the laptop's charger. So far more efficient to go direct to 19 volts than to use the inverter. And then across the top, I can turn things on as I need them. This is the 5-volt regulator, Raspberry Pi, USB power for the USB hub for charging devices. Wi-Fi is the Linksys router, and finally the server. And the server is a 1 terabyte hard disk with a 12-volt USB adapter powering it, and a Raspberry Pi, and that creates my file server. This is a power switch for the inverter, so I can remotely turn it on and off here. And then the QJE 35 amp power supply. When I'm plugged into shore power, this is parallel to the batteries, and I can turn it on and bring its voltage up to charge the batteries or to take on the load of running the radios without hitting the batteries. So that's how I can do shore power. Inside of here, I took some photos. I'll pop them up on the screen and show you where everything's laid out in there and how it's all wired. This took the most amount of work on getting this desk ready, was getting all this wired. But this really gives me some flexibility on how I can control my use of the solar power and the batteries. So that's the desk, basically. So that's my workstation here in the RV. It's working out quite well. I've been playing radio a lot on it, and I have done a little bit of soldering and a little bit of work already on the desk. And hopefully we'll be able to build a few projects here soon and really put it to use. So for those of you that wanted to see a better shot of the desk, there you go. If If you have any other further questions, go ahead and put them in comments below, and I will do my best to answer them. And presently, like I said, I'm in the DeSoto National Forest in southern Mississippi. It's going up into the 70s today, up near 80 tomorrow. Kind of chilly in the morning, that's why I'm wearing the jacket. I didn't want to run the furnace and burn the propane. It's not that bad. It's in the 60s in here, and I think it's like 62 in here, and it's like right around 60 outside now. It's starting to warm up. Slept real good. I cover up with a lot of blankets. So anyway, there you go, and we'll get back to work here. The next video, I'm going to be making a modification to my 5-volt regulator, and we'll do some real good detail on how you can trick the 78,000 series regulators like the 7805, 7808, or 7812 into putting out a slightly higher voltage, and I'll explain why I need to. So 73 to the hams. Thanks for watching to everybody else. And until the next video, bye-bye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, click to subscribe. Join us on the Facebook channel for discussion about the videos. And if you'd like to help support this channel, please click to support me on my Patreon page.